Hello?
Yo.
What are you doing?
What's that?
What are you doing?
Oh, just recording questions and answers.
Oh. That was pretty wild on the internet there, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of fizzled out a little more quickly than I had anticipated, or had hoped, I guess.
Whoa.
I was kind of hoping for something a little crazier, but maybe we haven't seen the last of it yet.
I know. Oh. What was I going to say?
What'd you get up to this weekend? Anything?
Well, I started working on the studio in the laundry room.
Cool.
But now I'm at the other studio. And I'm recording this because I set up my mix minus.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there.
I'm glad you are.
Well, say something interesting worth recording, David.
Well, I'm going to be snacking while we're doing this.
Okay. What is this? What do you want to do? Should we just go through... What?
Go ahead.
Should we just read questions?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
Good cutting enhances the quality of good meat. Poor cutting results in an inferior piece of meat, regardless of quality.
Okay. How much do our thoughts and feelings add to the flavor of what we eat?
As butchers?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, is it possible to use a negative number for that?
Yeah, you can.
Answer? Yeah, it's a negative 100%.
Well, I would respond that, thoughts and feelings, what goes into what you eat. Like, people always say, a home-cooked meal that you didn't make tastes better. A meal you don't.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. But maybe it's
I mean, you go to your mom's house and she makes that cheesy broccoli ricey casserole that she's made 5,000 times before that really isn't actually very good, but you're comforted by it, and so it therefore tastes better. I totally get that sentiment. I'm actually really glad that my thoughts and feelings don't dictate how the meat tastes, because usually during a busy production day, the only thoughts and feelings I have are like stress and endorphins and go, 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 go.
Yeah. But what if you're aroused? Then what would it taste like? Have a little funk?
Yeah, it'd be musky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, once you're done eating it, you want nothing to do with it, and you call it an Uber, so it goes home.
Yeah.
You don't even want to
do
you don't even want to do the dishes. I can't look at you. What did I do? It reminds me of a horrible story I won't tell.
No?
Nah. All right.
Like more horrible than the one at Christmas with the lady that gave the present to the other lady? Like more horrible than that?
So the last day of high school, or the 2 days after or whatever, because last day we went to grad night down at Disneyland and I saw the Aquabats play. But
oh, no way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Cool.
Also, it's not like it's more crowded than any other day at Disneyland, because there's a lot of fucking high schools in Southern California. But so my friend was quote unquote friends with this girl, and she professed her love for him. And then he's just like, nah, he graciously declined and was very gentlemanly. And, we were at this party at our friend's house, and it was a small party. There was only you wouldn't call it a party. You just call it that core group of 5 guys and 3 girls just drinking or whatever,
Yeah.
And he was, very stoic and letting her down and just being like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Total gentleman about it. She got drunk, and then this other guy, like last call at a bar, swooped in like a hawk. Was like, hey, how's it going? And then they go into a room, and we could hear, it's funny what you could hear when your ear's up against the door. And we could hear her calling this guy by my friend's name.
Oh.
And then being like, he's like, yeah, whatever, you can call me that. And then she's like, starts crying and saying,
oh, no.
Why can't you be him? And then
what?
Me and him, who she's talking about, are listening to this, and it got super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then,
immediately.
And then the other guy who was in there, starts crying and says, I can't believe I'm doing this. Man. Yeah. And it was one of the most uncomfortable situations I've ever been in.
But there's no way you can look away from that sort of thing, though.
No, it's bad. Also, I truly believe adolescence stops around 24. So if you're listening to this, please don't judge the character who I am today by the person I was when I was 17 years old, because 17 me was an asshole Southern California dude who would high five and had a terrible sense of humor and had no idea how the world really worked and how feelings really worked. So
yeah,
there you go. Now I'm going to stop recording so I could tell you the real messed up part. Yeah.
That's even more uncomfortable. Much more.
I know.
That's incredible. Did you have to interact with her in real life after that?
Only a few more times because, high school is graduation. High school is a archway of going one chapter closing, another chapter opening. So people moved away. People, went to city college, you really trimmed the fat on the friends at that time in your life because you don't want to just keep in contact with people you don't really like. I think from that day and that event, there's 2 people who I still keep in contact to this day, and both of them I was in their wedding. So one of them named their son after my brother.
Wow.
All right. Next question. Is an
Next
ox?
question. I got.
Oh, you got one? Okay.
That?
You go.
Yeah, I got one. It's this one's from Instagram, and the question is, what is canning meat?
What is canning meat?
So I guess there's the grade of beef canner, right?
Oh yeah.
Way down the ladder.
Yeah, and how many grades of beef are there?
I think 7.
Yeah, 7. And Canner's... Is Canner the lowest?
I think the lowest is utility, if I remember correctly.
I'm actually just going to look this up.
Yeah, I kind of want to know.
I feel like it's our duty and responsibility. I thought you said canned meat, like meat that's like gonna do some Benny Hill type stuff, and then there's a can right there. Some cheeky meat.
Yeah, canning meat. The way that I've had to prepare canning meat in the past, it just, like a country cut and wrap or something, was 2-inch by 2-inch cubes that people are just going to stuff into cans and pressure cook with water or broth.
Okay.
And then get it later. I think they just put the raw meat right in there, but I think if I was going to do it, I'd be tempted to sear the outside of it probably. I also don't think I would ever can meat.
So we have USDA Prime, Choice, and Select.
Yep.
And then we start getting into the utility cuts, which is
the good stuff.
Standard, commercial, utility, cutter, and canner.
Canner is the last, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Gross.
Yeah.
You guys can meet over at your place, Travis? I don't think you guys are doing that.
No.
No.
I've never canned meat. It's like one of those things where I just don't want to do it.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You got a freezer.
Yeah, I have a freezer. Like, I was watching this dude's YouTube channel, and it's some, like, no refrigeration, like, farmsteader, and it's just like, man, your life looks hard.
Wow, yeah, that's got to be. What do they do? Like, drive the team down to the general store once every 10 days and get a 1,000-pound block of ice or something?
I think they just can and salt and probably have scurvies and a bunch of Gorders and gross shit all over their face.
Yeah. Absolutely. And they're like just always eating hot ass stew, like even in the summer.
Yeah. We're just eating a lot. We're going to eat all this.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Gross.
Here's a question. Do you enjoy being a butcher? You can be 100% candid.
Overall, I would say yes, I do. I don't always know why. And there are lots of times when I think, I'm going to go back to school and not do this anymore.
Yeah.
But I do like it overall, and I know that if I left the direct industry for any reason, I would I don't know, I would somehow still be involved probably.
Yeah.
What about you?
I love it in the bragging sense, and like in the selfish sense of like having the skill set that's dying, and having like, and when you tell people you're a butcher and then they're like, you'd be like, oh wow, really? And then like be like, oh, and then if someone's not impressed, be like, I'm not like one of those other butchers, I could do all this.
Yeah.
But like, and I love, the podcast, and I love all the extracurricular activities that come with being a butcher that I've put myself into. I love like, the online community. I love being a member of the American team. I love the podcast. I love exploring all new avenues and networking and all this shit. But I could do without the terrible back pain, the knee pain, the hand pain.
Yes.
Being like, I'm starting to get cold now. I used to never get cold in a cut room.
Yeah, man.
Like, and then I just, right now at work, it seems like every day my boss is like, there's always some order that is like the most important thing that needs to get out. And it's just like unwanted stress. And it's just like, no, we can't say no to these people. I'm like, fine. Like, I understand that. And I understand, like, I don't know. Those are the things that like make me over it. If I were to be over it.
Man, okay. So, well, I could probably add, I guess maybe I'll take the opportunity to add a couple things to that. Some of the things that make me totally over it are not being able to find good help or people that like actually want to learn something.
Yeah, because I know you're hiring right now, and it's just I get all these inquiries about like people like, could I work with you? Could I do this? Could I do? And like, you can't work with me. But when we have a position to fill, like you can't spend a weekend, you can't spend a week.
Yeah, right.
You're not gonna thinking you're gonna get anything out of that is insulting to the trade for one, unless you already are in the trade, because it's not just something you pick up. But like when I saw your job post and I reposted it, it's just like all you people out there who say all this shit, just put up or shut up, because like I don't know, like. When I did that farm conference, a big part of it was just like people talking about like, how do we find workers? How do we do this? And like, you yourself are taking on this new program you want to instill at your work. And I've worked at places that like have had training programs or whatever you want to call them. And you end up with, one kind of worker who comes out of a program like in a shop setting where they could afford to work for free, which means they come from a certain economical background, which means they're, you end up with a bunch of white chefs who want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're listening to this and you're saying like, well, I did that and I'm not a white chef or a man or whatever, but like overall, yeah. And I'd like to see more diversity in the industry, but when it's like a pay to play type thing for the craft butchery, and then no one wants to work in the abattoirs, and everyone wants to be the front page and have the Instagram and have their beautiful case but no one wants to do the shit that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. Yeah, that's never. Let's see. How do I say this? The lines of communication between the abattoirs and the craft shops are definitely fuzzy, to say to say the least, I guess. I mean, we're going to try to do, where I live now is a very, very small community with a very small workforce of young people. And we're going to try to put together an apprenticeship program. It'll take a couple of years and you'll get pretty well-rounded, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that all really depends on finding people that like want to do it.
Yeah.
And especially like once they find out that you actually like can't have your cell phone in the facility at all, and it's really cold, and you have to wear a hairnet and a beard net every day, and when I don't know, I think when a lot of applicants really see what the job is, they kind of back out, which is great, because you kind of weed people out that won't stay for the full term of the program. But when you've got a small labor pool, I think it might be kind of wishful thinking to have a stack of applicants.
Yeah. Because I know I've had the problem where it's like, we've all worked with the boss who's like, well, we'll just hire someone and train them up. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Then why, so it's going to take me twice as long to do my job now?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm in a position where, fairly shortly I'm probably going to have 50% of the cutting crew being brand new.
Yeah.
And I've done that once before at a plant, and holy smokes, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Especially when you've got inventory to look after, packaging, discussions with QC, QA, FSIS.
Well, even if you have
all of the things.
Yeah. Even if they're like trained butchers, you still have to get them to work with with your margins,
Yeah, even like when I got to my new place, I had never broken the way that we break there, and it was, take some time
to
get on board, take some reps, Yeah. Anyways, what was, I don't even know if the original question was. Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
I like it. I like it when somebody tells me about some boring ass shit they do, and then I say, "Well, I'm a butcher."
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you saying? Because I was just waiting for my turn to tell you I'm a butcher.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. High carbon knives. Wait, what? Do you use high carbon knives? Or are they too much to take care of while working?
I do. I use both. I don't use a high carbon skinner. I use a stainless beef skinner. But for boning knives and like my straight blade for kill, I use high carbon 5-inch boning knives. And I don't know. I just like the edge they keep better. I think that I generally am going to devote the same amount of time to sharpening a knife either way, because it's a thing that I do that's like in my routine during the day, and it always takes the same amount of time, but like whatever. So I think if I was using all stainless, I don't think I'd really save a whole lot of time sharpening my knife, probably. Yeah. As crazy as that sounds, but I prefer the high carbon for the boning knives myself. What about you?
I used to love high carbon knives for cutting, and I would use them and swear by them and like use them for years. And then I ordered like a ton of shit from a company and got a free sample knife. And it was a Glacier. That's how they say it, right? Glacier. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's got the black handle with the red collar. Is that right?
Yeah, and with the scalloped edge, and it's stainless. And I don't think I could ever use another boning knife.
No kidding.
Yeah,
6-inch,
semi-stiff. It doesn't say that it's not semi-stiff or anything. It just like it reacts when you press on it.
It's like a semi-flex.
Yeah, but it doesn't advertise that it is. It is their stiff knife.
Cool.
And then I use a 10-inch scimitar with a scalloped edge. Then those are the two knives I use when cutting. And then just in my knife holder is a 10-inch high carbon knife, and then a 5-inch straight high carbon boning knife. And they're there just for looks. I rarely use them. I rarely put it. Yeah. And then I mechanically sharpen my knives.
You get the true hone?
Yeah, I use the true hone. That doesn't mean I don't know how to use a stone.
Yeah.
It means I don't have time.
Yeah. I guess when I'm cutting, I've got two 5-inch semi-flexes and I think it's an 8-inch breaking knife. But it's like I use that to cut steaks a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like just a little too short. But my other staking knife is it's a 12-inch, and it's fucking stupid. It's way too long.
Yeah. No, my 10-inch scallop scimitar was stainless. It is I use it for breaking, and then I use it for cutting steaks. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, cool. Let's see. What you got over there? Oh, I've got one. Let's see. How does Hasso certification work?
You pay money, and then you do like a 2-day course with some smart people. And then there's a test that you can't fail.
Yeah.
When I took the test, they said, no one has ever failed this. And I got mine. Like a lot of colleges will do a Hasso course, or you could hire a company to do Hasso certification for their staff.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, David and I could do Hasso training because we're both Hasso certified.
Yeah, I feel like the most useful part about Hasso training was the practice, like building a practice plan. And honestly, I think it would be really fun if there was like a weekend workshop where you could just go and meet a bunch of other people that were into it and just kind of practice your skills building sample plans.
Yeah.
Maybe like a weekend for Hasso nerds or something. I would go to that.
I'd go to that too. Like the sample plan we built, there's a bunch of poultry farmers. So it was like super easy.
Yeah.
I would like to do a workshop where it's more complex with with stuff I didn't even know, just so I could come out of there like learning stuff, like how do you what support, like in depth, where like you could walk away and be like, look stuff up and have the supporting documentation or whatever.
Man. Okay, so if any of our listeners are Hasso consultants out there,
Trevor,
let's get together and talk about this, because we'll have to come up with something crazy like.
Because the Hasso training I received didn't make any sense to me at the time. And essentially I walked away with a piece of paper that said I knew what I was talking about.
I feel like that happens often.
Yeah. And then
often.
And now, just from years of like actual working and being thrust into positions where it's like, I have to know.
Yeah.
Like, I think actually like a refresher course or something like that, or this workshop that we're spitballing would actually be beneficial.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be really beneficial, especially if part of a workshop could be like problem solving. Like you've got a voluntary recall, or you've got like, say you came in on Monday and your cooler had been down for 2 days, and you've got beef hanging in the drip and beef hanging in the aging cooler.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Something like that. Like,
yeah. And then there's things you could do to, like, if that happens, how do you ensure that you don't throw away everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because I've worked at places.
You could get into Appendix A and Appendix B then, and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, you could get into like the, like where I work, we have data loggers in every single cooler. That if one fails, we log it up and see at what point did it reach what temperature and what point did it peak and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep. And then potentially you could be figuring out like what log growth the bacteria would go through, and then what sort of reduction you could potentially achieve. Man,
yeah.
That's getting me excited, man. That sounds fun.
And then there's like websites that you put in, your data that will give you instantly your feedback back on like growth modules in real time. Did you know that?
I think we're onto something here.
All right. If anyone's interested in that, please contact David.
Moving on. What do you got?
What do I got? I got, when purchasing meat from your local supermarket, what are things you look for as far as quality?
Man, that's a really good question. Well, I'm trying not to be too biased here. I mean, I guess if I was just going to go to just to your regular grocery, you know, like a Meijer or QFC or like whatever.
Yeah.
And let's say no organic and no grass that is available. I'm just looking for things. I guess I'm mostly looking for marbling and just whether it's bloomed out and.
You're looking for an aesthetic versus an ethic.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I am. I mean, that being said, if grass-fed beef is available, I'll most likely buy that because I like the flavor, but I also just support that model in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if that's not available and I'm just in a regular grocery store, I think, I'd be going for aesthetic. I don't think I'd be going after like certified Black Angus or anything that says the word natural because that doesn't mean shit, or any sort of packaging. I'd really just be, if I'm picking from just whatever meat, I'm just going to get something that's going to be tasty and fatty and good.
Mm-hmm. And when you shop, do you have meal planning done in advance, or are you just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
It depends. You know, if I go to the grocery store hungry, then it's kind of no holds barred. But usually, I try to kind of what I do is like, if there's a good vegetable in season, I'll go buy everything else around something. You know, so it's kind of like loose meal planning. But I cook for like a family of 12, so I always have enough for at least a week.
Okay. I think I try to buy ethically, you know, and the semantics and what meanings are with free range and cage free and all that. It's language designed to make us feel better about mass farming, and a large, you know, but that being said, I think it is still better than the alternative. I think when those words aren't on it, I would like to think that it's a little bit better. But I also shop, or, you know, do my food shopping with a budget. And I know many Americans really can't afford the ethics or the buzzwords.
That's right.
That's a shame. But it's where we are. But I don't know. We do a lot of meal planning, so it's a lot of like, okay, we're going to need this kind of steak or stew or something like that. But if we're at like if I'm flipping through the Sundays and I see like a nice deal at the cash and carry for so much a pound of this product, and it's just like, man, I could really make that stretch for several months, you know, like a whole boneless chuck roll for like, you know, super cheap, then I'll get it. Yeah. I don't know if that answers the question at all.
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Makes sense to me. What'd you guys eat this weekend? Or what do you got planned for this upcoming week? Anything good?
We got some pork and carrot meatballs that right now are cooking in the Instapot. We have some chicken, Brussels sprouts patties coming up. Tonight for dinner, we did a skin on Dutch style standing rib roast with turning the skins into cracklings.
Damn, dude.
Oh,
sounds good.
I roasted, a hotel pan full of carrots and one full of squash and Brussels sprouts. Then we'll just reheat and portion that out throughout the week for dinners.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I got going.
Sounds great.
Yeah, all about counting macros.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, tell us what that means, because I don't know.
Trying to be balanced within like how much carbs, fat, and protein you take in to the point where you like weigh your food and then put it in this app in your phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It sucks.
If it works, it works. I mean, it makes you feel good and
yeah,
whatever.
I like being keto because like keto is easy. You just eat fat and protein.
I'm freaking packing on weight right now, like a Thanksgiving time squirrel, man. It's
really?
Ridiculous.
I'm getting one of those fancy bikes pretty soon because I need to lose weight.
What's that?
I said I'm going to get a fancy riding bike because I need to lose weight, David.
Yeah, I'm in the bike too.
Yeah.
Not that it's really going to help because it's winter is here for real in California right now.
Yeah, Northern California.
Dude, I almost got stuck in Oregon yesterday. I was on the 30-foot scaffolding doing some preventative maintenance on our condensers in my processing room.
Uh-huh.
And like, I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I pulled my phone out of my pocket
and
to see what time it was, and I dropped it 30 feet and destroyed it. And then the closest place to get that service was Oregon. So I get over the hill, and I knew a winter storm was coming. And of course, like, you never really think that you're going to be at a cell phone store for like 4 or 5 hours, but you always are.
Yeah.
And on the way back, the snow and the ice had built up enough that like they weren't letting people go over the pass unless they had chains.
Oh,
I don't have any chains.
So what do you do?
Well, luckily there was this moment of time where they were like letting people go over, but then the warning came back on. So I'm not sure how that happened. It was just kind of a small miracle, but I got back eventually. But I don't know.
I'm
not a big fan of the icy mountain passes. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I one time was returning from my dad's house in Reno to my mom's house in Sacramento, and it was snowing.
Really?
And I was super panicked, like, we need chains. Oh my God. Chains. And, so the last like, it's not even like an exit. It's like this industrial, like, truck stop just had this huge cardboard sign right before you get on the pass. And it says, we sell chains. And there was a huge line of people buying chains. And
wow,
none of us needed them.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
What are your thoughts on female butchers?
Did you say on female butchers?
Yes.
What are my thoughts on woman butchers?
Well, the question says female butchers, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, they're not any different than, I don't know. Take away the describing and just ask me how I feel about butchers, I guess. I mean, I've got cutters from all over the gender spectrum on my table, and everybody goes through the same program and shares the same responsibilities. And I mean, that's it.
Yeah. I'll say that the one person I've ever worked with who could keep up with my pace and working long hours and my attitude was my wife. We're still married.
I figured that was what you were going to say.
Yeah, we're still married. We just don't work together anymore.
Yeah, Melissa can. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
You can say her name. It's fine.
What's that?
You can say her name. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Melissa can get after it, man. She's a hard ass worker.
Yeah. She and I tell people this all the time when they bitch to me about anything, that my wife was worked, a 14-hour day and then gave birth to our son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there. Not the birth part, the work part.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And yeah, she never took a day off or anything like that. And I'm not saying that that's the standard.
Yeah, that was crazy.
What?
No, it was crazy, dude. I mean, she worked up until the day she gave birth.
Yeah. And then, and I'm not saying if you're pregnant, that's the standard I expect or anything like that by any means. I'm just saying, she's gnarly in that sense. And she could also put me in check. And she could side beef, portion cut, and handle all the paperwork that I can't. And she is a woman.
I personally am very glad that the business is seeing, something other than just like grumpy ass middle-aged white guys.
Yeah.
It's really great.
That's something that I want to, I don't know if it's like something you actively work on, if it's still like meaningful but like I want the meat block to have more representation of the industry, and we should try to get interviews with people who may have a different point of view or a different look at this industry through a different lens, through their footage, through their shoes.
I did, but I gotta read them off here. Here, let's see. What's a butcher's income in America? That's a big wide spectrum, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never worked a union. I've never worked at a union shop. So we did that one episode where we actually pulled all that up, and we found a website. I can't even tell you what episode that was. But
I would say one thing that's really consistent between the Midwest and the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest, it's like, it seems, from what I hear from people, that abattoirs are paying entry-level workers $12 and $13, and then moving up as you become more valuable.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I peaked at $13 in abattoirs, and I was big fucking pimping back then. My $15
yeah.
or $13 or whatever I said. It was $13 I peaked at, which is odd because, or not odd. The tile job I left or not left, that no longer existed because of the economy collapse. Because if you don't know, I'm a journeyman tile setter by trade. I was making $21 an hour.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned during the recession is, what are going to do? Are going to bitch about how there's no jobs and how people aren't going to pay you what you're worth, or going to and do that and starve and, depend on, unemployment. And then when that runs out, then have no skills and have wasted time, or you're going to fucking eat money and, take a lesson in pride and fucking work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But the spectrum is it depends. Get your HACCP certification, which is like a 2-day course. Do some management classes. Work for small companies, and then get your skills to learn every part of the business. And then hop around. Next thing you know, you're making, between $60,000 to $100,000 a year.
Yeah, that is very possible.
Mm-hmm.
Very possible, especially if you can be plugged into any station from pushing beef in the pens all the way until it's in inventory in the flash freezer.
Yeah.
If you can then take it, from that, at the very least, subprimal product, and then turn it into a meal, like a high level meal, then you can make even more money than that.
Exactly. Is that but knowing that it doesn't, you have to be willing to move, and you have to be willing to accept jobs. You can't.
Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta get it. You gotta go get it. It's not gonna come to you. You for sure gotta go get it. And that's half the fun, though, kind of, I think.
Yeah. But it's also something that I did that, and when I now having a family, I have to accept that I can't.
Yeah. Well, good thing you struck while the iron was hot.
Yeah. All right. Last question, David. Do you ever get nightmares from butchering all day long?
No, but when I first started killing beef alone all the time,
mm-hmm.
There was a period of time when the pressure started to feel when it was first under USDA inspection, when I had that experience out in the field and whatnot. There was a lot of pressure, and I definitely had dreams about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't get nightmares about work at all at this point. I just sleep.
Yeah. I don't get nightmares about work. I certainly wake up and don't want to go sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I used to be the sole killer for that same company I know you're talking about, it's stressful knowing that, you're going to go someplace you've never been to before, and your USDA inspector is not the most reasonable person. Or you may not, when I was there, we had a different inspector every single day of operation. Because we didn't have a set inspector, so it was who was ever free.
That's the worst. Yeah, I did not have to deal with that challenge.
And so it's is this person getting it? What? Yeah, and it caused me to loathe slaughter. I have a set rule. They're saying it's walked away with having all the responsibility. It's like, I will never put myself in the position to be responsible for a single pre-op. That's someone else's job. I don't mind slaughter and killing animals and any of that, but by no means am I ever going to jump at the opportunity to go back for working USDA slaughter.
Yeah, you're not looking to like change directions and go manage a kill floor.
No, I think I would find it incredibly sweaty, and then also like, and I love it. Like, it's one of those things. Like, I would love to do it, and like I loved it in the moments, but now it's just like, besides the sweatiness, I think the uncertainty would stress me out and give me heart palpitations because of where it's like cutting. You don't have to worry about if you're going to get a zero tolerance NR. You're not going to have to worry about humane
handling.
Yeah, humane handling, or an animal busting through the pens, or like manipulating something that may not want to be manipulated because it's alive. Just all the variables for me is I left that shit in my 20s.
Yeah. We also, I think, have kind of spent time in a corner of the industry where we're like been in plants that are too small to be like fully automated, bringing the animals in for knocking. And so there's like a lot of really manual labor involved there under USDA inspection, which is actually, I think, like the most difficult.
Yeah.
Open knocking like 3-4 lambs at a time, is fine until it's not,
Yeah. We would knock 10 at a time.
Yeah.
But it's just the zero tolerance, and I don't want to burst people's bubbles or anything like that. But if I stare at a carcass long enough, I'm going to not see stuff because I just want it to be pushed in. I could also go to any carcass and find something.
Oh yeah,
like after it's been inspected. So yeah. And that's the variable of just like what I hated about working at that small USDA mobile slaughter cut and wrap that we worked at, where it was like when you're the only person responsible for all the paperwork and all this stuff, and it's just like, nah, I need some cushions of responsibility between me and all this. Then the owners are like, oh, you got an NR on the pre-op, and then this, and then this. And I'm like, you know what? Let's take a step back and look at all the shit that we're doing, or I'm doing, or you're doing.
Yeah.
And appreciate that before because it's a fucking lot. Oh, I'm also the cleaning crew too, so.
Yeah, yep.
I think I never had nightmares, but what I'm describing is the nightmare.
Oh yeah, it was really something.
Yeah, be candid. So I'll just synopsis. I was working for this place at the Canadian border, right there in America, still running a USDA mobile cut and wrap facility. The mobile butcher that also had a cut and wrap facility. We would slaughter 2 days a week, and we would cut 3 days a week. And it was me and my wife. I was given the okay to hire another person to cut, and that's how I actually met David. And David and I worked together for about a month. And then I got offered a job at another place that just financially made sense for me. And I feel like I was transparent with you about like what you were going to step into and gave you an out and all that.
As much as you could have been like with me not having any perspective at the time.
Yeah.
Had you described it in more detail, it wouldn't have helped.
Yeah. So David ended up stepping into the exact role that I was doing. So me and him had this very shared experience of working at this place.
That's right. It was very difficult in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a lot, though, about being resourceful and, the limits of my mind and body. I learned a lot about that.
Yeah. See, you were lucky. You lived on site there for a while.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. Not commuting to Mount Baker like I was.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I got to live in the office trailer, and I had a nice little bedroom and had a shower and stuff. That was good stuff.
Yeah. And it was haunted.
And, I never knew if, like, the owner's mom was going to walk in on me when I was coming out of the shower in the morning or something.
Yeah. With your morning missile just sitting there.
Yeah.
All right. Do you got anything to plug, anything to add before I hit stop and stuff?
How's things going with the American team?
It's real hush hush right now. We don't want to give away too much to anything. Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to.
Well, things are going great. Right now we're at the time where it's we have new people on the team, including myself, and we just are. It's like anything, you need to know. You need to build in those idiosyncrasies, and have a first. Before that, you have to have a relationship with your teammates. Like, hey, how are you? What are you into?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think we got a ton of talent on the team. I'm excited to see where my role fits into the team.
Yeah.
And I could be on the bench too. And if I am, I will cheer till my lungs give out, because it's just,
yeah, man. Look at Nick Foles,
yeah.
or like any one of a number of NFL quarterbacks that they're backups, and then all of a sudden they're like playing an entire season.
Yeah, and it's just to even like have my career get me to this point is fucking amazing to me.
Yeah. Yep.
And people, multiple people have asked me about how to try out for the team and all that stuff. Number one thing, first thing, is join the Butchers Guild. Just type in Butchers Guild USA in any search bar. It'll come up. And be a current member. And then that's the first step. Then people ask me how to support the team. And the way to do that right now is, if you have a little bit of extra money, check out our GoFundMe. The link is on my Instagram page at American Butcher. Link is also at the Butchers Guild website. And if you are a company like a knife company or a PPE company, or say Cabela's, and you want to sponsor the American team, we are looking for sponsorship and cash donations as well. With a new fiscal year just starting, hopefully some of you guys are feeling great.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, David.
All right.
Until next time.
Keep your knife sharp.
And live in the margin. Bye. All right, I'm going to stop recording.